watching the Olympics?
A little bit.
A little bit,
A
yeah.
little bit.
I always love watching it. I like the summer and the winter Olympics. I like them both. And of course, the figure skating is one of the best
I
things.
think that's one of the best things
it's
to
amazing.
watch for sure.
So it incorporates like art and
Athleticism
and everything.
A lot of high skill action going on there.
Crazy amount of training and strength and all that.
Yeah.
And in the U.S., our number one skater is Ilya Malinin. And hopefully I said that properly. And after his first skate, he was in first place.
Yeah, I did see. I saw the first round.
Really amazing, wasn't it?
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, doing things that no one else in the world has ever done before. And he hadn't lost any match since 2023. I mean, that's crazy. Has swept everything that he's entered. And he's only 21 years old. And then he went out for his free skate program, which is the main one. How long are those? Like 3 minutes or 4 minutes?
I don't know.
I think something like that. And he absolutely cratered, completely imploded. And
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
He fell twice. He aborted a jump, and it was really sad. I mean, I felt terrible for him.
Yeah.
And then he came off the ice and he said to his coach or to the camera or something like that, "This wouldn't have happened if I was allowed to compete in Beijing." And so that's a little bit of like a controversy that's coming out from him, because in Beijing, he had qualified in second place, but the United States chose not to take him because he was only 17 years old, and they skipped him and went to whoever was next because they wanted somebody with more experience.
Which is funny because now it's kind of come to bite them because he didn't have the experience. I mean, he's experienced, but he didn't have the Olympics experience.
And that's a whole different game right there. I mean,
yeah, that in and of itself is like more, or not more necessarily, but a different pressure. Right?
It is. It's more.
You think so? Do you think?
For
do
sure.
You think that the Olympics is like to those skaters, like versus their world championship and the Olympics? The Olympics is more. I mean, yes. I know there's more eyes on it.
There's more eyes on it. There's and it's probably times 1,000. You know what I mean? Like somebody like you or me don't know anything about the world championships in skating.
No.
We never don't.
Well, that's like all the sports for the Olympics.
Most
I mean,
of them, right.
they pretty much all have their own world championship type event.
Right. And then, but when the Olympics come around, then we're all paying attention to it.
Right. Well, it's televised. Yeah.
Right.
It's televised.
So yeah, he didn't have that experience, and he believes obviously that if he was allowed to go as a 17-year-old, he wouldn't have as much pressure. He would have just been out there just so happy just to be there. But now,
well, he wasn't at that level at 17.
No.
I mean, yes, he was great. Apparently, he was really good. Right, but probably not the same level that he is right now.
So now he's the greatest skater in the world, but he didn't have that Olympic experience, and now all of that pressure went onto him, and it's obvious
and the mental piece kind of crushed him.
It did.
I will say I did watch an interview after his first round, and kind of the way he was acting after the first round. To me, it seemed a little cocky, a little overconfident, and I was kind of like, I wonder if he's going to continue on this or if he's going to crumble. Because I don't know. I guess I've always felt like I don't know. To me, I feel like in some ways being cocky jinxes it. I know you don't believe in jinxing, but I feel like, I don't know. I guess I always go in underconfident. Expect the worst, hope for the best.
So you also said that you saw after his first round, he looked cocky after his round.
Yeah, just even when he was on the field. I mean, he was like commanding
It's not a field.
That's true. Yeah, it's not really a field. I call it a field. Okay, everything's a field to me, even if it's ice. The ice field.
Yeah, there you go.
The rink. Okay. No, I don't know. He was just very, commanding of the applause. He was very proud of himself, which, as he should be, he did a fabulous job. He was incredible out there. I was just a little surprised at how long he stood out there to demand applause.
Yeah, that's something I've never done that in disc. I've seen people do it, especially at the IDC.
I've never seen anybody do it quite like that, to be honest.
I don't know.
I've seen some. Well, okay. So did you watch the first run that he had?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. And I'm thinking, I can't wait
Yeah.
for his free skate where it's longer and they
What's
get to
crazy
do
is
more
I watched
things.
the guy before him. I think there was, well, maybe it was 2 guys before him. He was from France. He was really good. And then another guy from Japan came out. He was,
I remember the Japanese. Yeah,
he was really good. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't even know how the heck I mean, I'm not really versed in figure skating.
It's a lot like our sport, I think. If you're not in it,
it's hard to know the little details, but you're amazed at all of it, right? I mean, I think just the average person would watch a player that's finished in the top half of the world championships and think, whoa, that's really incredible.
Right.
And it might be hard for them to differentiate even like somebody who's consistently top 25 versus like top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of to his point about, saying that if he would have gotten to go to Beijing, he probably would have done better this time. Right. Probably won.
And he probably would have done better, right? Because we get it.
You know what? I think he's probably right about that. And it's interesting to me that, I don't know, I find any type of event where the qualifiers are handpicked, not based off the results, to be very interesting, especially in the case like that where they are looking at a set of results and they clearly chose to skip somebody, right? Like, to me, that's always a little bit odd. I do like that generally in our sport, like all of the world championship qualifiers are based on what you did, like the score you achieved, and not like some other weird hand-picked reason. I know agility has some events where they're kind of hand-picked, like sort of Olympic style where,
Yes.
Yeah, or at least for this event. But yeah, so interesting to me. I guess, like in my career, I kind of think about, and disc dogging, I was 17 years old when Torch won the Skyhounds Open Overall World Championship. That was my very first World Championship win, or even like striking distance of the podium. Like, I had never really been that close until that year in that event. Like, I had maybe cracked a top 10 or something, or, gotten close to the cut, but not really. I mean, that was really like the first event. And what's interesting to me is that I feel like I don't know how I came out of that event on top, because the way that I went into it, I was freaking out. Like, mentally, none of the pieces were really fitting together.
You were Ilya.
Yeah, I kind of was, and I think it was by some miracle that we still managed to win, and that miracle is Torch. He was just so good, and also crazy because he was a puppy too. It's not like he had any experience competing, let alone at a high pressure event. And I know that there's folks out there that will say that the dogs don't know whether they're competing or not. I do think the dogs know when they feel nervousness or pressure from their handler, and they can figure out that this is different from playing at the park, or maybe even playing in a local competition versus the big one. Yes. Right. And so to me, it's I kind of think about what he said, and I wonder how that maybe applies to people in disc. And, I've watched the sport for a long time and been to a lot of big championship events. And I've seen people that they go into the final round, they're in first place, and they just absolutely crush it. And then you see some that they're just barely holding it together, like I was with Torch. I mean, I think if I had any more mistakes, I don't think we would have won. I mean, our margin for winning from the second to last round after the final round, we lost points. Like, we started out with a 3-point lead and ended up only winning by a half point. So obviously the final round was not as good, but it was just enough that we were able to escape with a win. But it's interesting to me to watch and see how people handle that moment of going into the final round. And whether they're in first place and they nail it, or they screw up, or maybe they're in second or third place and they just really bring it and they pass whoever was in first place. That to me is just so interesting. And when I watch things like the Olympics and other sports, I can't help but think about disc dogging when I watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's the first thing I'd like to say is, if you get into that position where you are in first place or second place, and I've said this before in the podcast. It's the idea of catching lightning in a bottle. You got to do everything you possibly can to take advantage of that moment.
Yeah, because you may never get it
It
again.
may never happen again. And uh, just so many examples of
Well, and that's, I
people.
mean, like the Olympics is sort of that way too.
Right.
I mean, especially for them, we have multiple world championships in a year,
Yes.
and even the guys
Well,
from
they do also. They have multiple events per year.
That's true, but
But the Olympics is only every 4 years.
that's what I was getting at. Is the Olympics is only every 4 years, so they really have like slim chance to
Right.
win that particular event. I mean, there's no event in disc dogging that only happens every 4
Right.
years type of thing.
Right.
Maybe it's close to you certain years or not, but other than that, it's not like they just don't happen like the Olympics.
There are so many disc dog world champions that have competed a long time, and they did manage to win a single world championship, and which is phenomenal. But could you imagine if that person didn't get to win that one? They were able to put it together and do everything they need to do to get that win, and they're going to cherish that forever. And that's why you have to catch lightning in a bottle. And I guess I go out there every single time, even though I've already done it, and I go out there with sort of like a mental place where I feel like I don't have any choice but to win. This is my last chance. This is my only chance. Yeah. I got to do it. And even in a world championship where there's multiple world championship events, each round I'm thinking, this is it.
It's the do or die
This
event.
is the do or die. I got to win this right now. I got to do everything. And then as soon as that round's over, then if there's another round or whatever,
you just got to like recycle through that
through
again.
it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, I'm mentally drained after a lot of these big events because it is like that. And when you are put in that position, it's draining.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to ask you, I feel like my experience winning a world championship for the first time was a little bit more cut and dry because it was the very first time I was in striking distance, the very first time this, and it all just happened all at once. For you, I think your championship journey has been a little bit different because your first world championship win was in pairs.
Right.
Which, not to say that's less, but it's definitely different. You did half the amount that you would have in like a singles routine, right?
Right. And then second world championship was also a pairs, but not
it was
freestyle.
A pairs DA.
It was pairs DA.
Right. So what was like the first event that you were within striking distance of an overall world championship?
So I think the first time
like going into final round,
I was, well, with the pairs, that was the first time ever being on the podium or anything like that in the world championships. I'd never even gotten, like you said,
you never gotten a second or third or something.
No, I think the closest is maybe was similar for both of us in AWI. We were both around fifth or sixth. One of us was fifth and sixth, or fourth and fifth, and that was Sketch and Enzo. Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we were
that was
kind of
like
close to the podium.
One of my best placements. Probably that was my best placement in any world championships up to that point. And that was a few years earlier. That was like 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, I think
earlier.
For me, I think that was 2011. But for me, that was the same year that Torch had won. So that was it all kind of happened at once. Right. And I had a shot at the UFO.
So I went 4 years
before
I even got really all that close. And then the pairs happened. And then after that, it was Muse. And do you remember the year at AWI?
2017.
2017. So that year we were first place going into the finals, and then you won with Torch. You were in second place, and you won with Torch.
Yeah.
And then we finished second. So that was other than the pairs, that was the first time in terms of an open or singles championship where I was in striking distance, and we came up short. And
that was a competitive final because I mean you had nailed Muse's everything. I mean you were dropless the first round. Your toss and fetch was really good, and then Torch I think in the first round had 3 misses, and his toss and fetch was good. Their toss and fetches weren't too far apart. Muse might have been slightly.
It was like
higher.
A half a point more.
And then second round Torch was dropless, and I think you had 2 or 3 misses with Muse.
Right. Yeah. So and it's just
So, but it was very close. I mean,
right.
it was highly, highly competitive.
But it makes me wonder, had the pairs championships not happened, where what would my mindset have been if this is my first time in that
Would you have been
position and
different?
then
Yeah.
we lost?
Would you have maybe done better, or would you have crumbled a lot? Like, would you have maybe not made it
Well,
on the podium?
I will say this. I You mean in future events?
Well, no, at that event.
At
I'm
that
saying if
event?
you had
Oh,
not won the two pairs events,
I don't think we would have been in first place going into the final round.
so you already had like a
I
taste for it.
had
You kind of got
more.
that.
I had more confidence.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So I think that was the one of the big things, and the reason it didn't just completely make me crumble or destroy me is because, well, we did already win, and I knew how great Muse was,
Yeah.
and so I just figured.
Well, and she was kind of in the middle of her prime, so
Right.
it wasn't like this was like she was gonna. You weren't planning to retire her the next year or something
Yeah,
like
she was
that.
probably, I don't know, 4 years old or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out.
Right.
So yeah, that was. I'm thinking if I hadn't won the pairs with you, and then I was at that event in first place and ended up second. What I will say is that I would have had a lot of drive to come out and to win. I would have pushed myself even more probably the next year or whatever, the next event. But
Well, so later on, you did go on.
Right, but my mental game wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah.
I would have pushed myself. I would have done a lot of training and all that kind of stuff. I would have wanted to do better and put more time into it, even more than I already was. But my mental game wouldn't have been as good because then in 2021, there were some other events leading up to that we did really well in 19. Key won the Microdog Open, and I think in 18 and
you won some toss and fetch championships. I think 17 you won the toss and fetch, and 18 with
right,
Muse. There
right.
were some other world championship wins,
Right.
but it wasn't an open overall.
Right.
Well, it was a Microdog Open, which is nothing to.
Of course,
you know.
absolutely. I'm super proud of those, and I mean my favorite win ever is Small Dog Bon Bon AWI. I don't know if I've ever said that on this channel, but that's my favorite win ever. It's her first year that she 2021, also the same year that we're going to be talking about here at AWI Bon Bon Small Dog World Championship. That is I cherish that more than any of them, and that's just because it's Bon Bon and the relationship I have with her. It was her first win. And I went in there. I wanted to win that so bad, and so that was the most special one for me. But that same year at the AWI, Zin's going out, and she's a new dog on the block.
That was her first time doing the AWI.
Yes, this is her first time
right?
doing AWI. It was her first year competing, except the year before she did compete in the IDC, but that was the only event.
All year because it was COVID, so that was the only thing that really happened.
So this is her first world championship, and she was phenomenal, and we were in first place going into the final round again. And I will be honest, man, I held it together, and we did even better than our first round, and we just nailed it. And I had all that just the mental game was just there. At that point, my mental game had been solidified. And it all started with that first pairs freestyle win. If I didn't have that, I don't know what would have happened after that. You know what I mean?
It may have taken you longer to get to that.
It could have taken longer. Probably wouldn't have been as good or consistent or successful overall. I think my dogs are so good that it was just going to happen no matter what. There was going to be wins that are going to
at some point. Yeah, it's just hard to pinpoint like what could have happened, like if it was a little bit of a different journey there, right?
Yeah, and if I even didn't make the finals or the first place going to the final round the year that Muse didn't win, that's a learning experience as well. And if I combine that with we had already won the pairs, I know I can still do it. I know my dogs can do it. And when I dropped down to second place, it was like, I really don't want to do that ever again. If you can't control it.
It's really hard to go into a final round in first place and then end up in second.
It hurts.
And I can tell you that from experience with Sora, that happened to me twice in a row at Skyhounds. So 2021, same year. I mean, Sora and I threw down a 27.5. Our freestyle, for some reason, that first round, I think it was the worst freestyle we had ever done up to that point. And Sora was still pretty young. And while she did have competition experience and she was a world champion at that point already from 2019, 2020, we didn't compete at all. So there was like no experience. And I felt like that really kind of got me off my groove because I felt like in 2019, like Sora and I just came out on fire. Everything was working really well. And then when COVID happened, I kind of got out of that like mental grind of like getting ready for competition. So then 2021 came along and I felt like I was like, you know, brushing the dust off and I like couldn't brush the dust off enough. And for whatever reason, I couldn't put it together enough to make it like a clear-cut win for Sora and I. And so that was like really disappointing for me because I remember in 2019, I played with Sora and I actually was like thinking, well, Sora's actually got a good shot of winning Skyhounds because her toss and pitch is so flipping good. And it was our first time playing on that second field. They used to have the field different than they arrange it now. But so where the field was, there was kind of like a weird dip in the middle and more on one side than the other. And Sora had never played on that field before because we were already qualified. So, and she had never done anything like this before. And this is all out of lack of experience and lack of me knowing her. I mean, she was a year and a half. So what did I know other than to just try to throw it straight? And well, I didn't expect any of this, but she did this really weird, like arcing and turning stuff. And it was hard to see her and hard to gauge my throw. And I kept like throwing short. And I was like, I didn't come out with the toss and fetch round that I wanted to have with her, that I knew that we could have. And while she still did really well at the 2019 championships, I wasn't able to put together our toss and fetch like I knew that we could. And I learned something about Sora that day. And of course, I used that for the next day. She ended up winning the DA championship after I figured out what she was doing with her funny running out thing. And so, but it was a learning moment, right? And so I realized, okay, well, I need to be really paying attention to how the field is because this obviously is something for her that affects her and makes her react differently. So, 2021, we went in and we came up just short. We ended up in second. We had gone into the final round in first and dropped down to second. And man, whew, that was tough because I was like, dang, I thought we had this figured out. And usually our freestyle for me was always the easy part. It was the toss and fetch that I would always lose because of, and we had a 27.5. So I was like, oh God, to lose with freestyle, that's like the worst thing ever. Cause I mean, Torch and I, we lost some events and it was always because of toss and fetch every single time. I had never lost a championship because our freestyle wasn't there. And then the next year, you probably remember this year very well, 2022, going into the final round, Sora was at the very end of the order. Man, I just remember waiting there all day. And it was just, I think our first round of freestyle was like at 3:00. We were back to back, Muse and Sora. And I went out there and our first round of freestyle was really good. And our toss and fetch, I went out there and it was like, it was like a repeat of 2021, except for our freestyle was really good this year. And I was like, okay, this is it. We're going to figure this out this time. And the first 4 throws, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. So we had a 22 points and I'm like, we're about to throw down another 27.5. And at that time, 27.5 was pretty common for me, Sora and I. We were throwing that score fairly often. We just kind of had everything together. It was before I had an injury. So then last throw, I throw it just a little too far out the back and they call it out. So she went in there with a 22. She still went into the finals in first place, but not with the big old lead she would have had if we had that last throw. And I was like, oh crap. I hope that didn't lose it for us.
I was watching that round and whenever that happened, I just said, no.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
And then when the scores came out, were you surprised to see that you were in second?
Yes.
And Sora was in first? With Muse.
I was not surprised you were in first. I was surprised that I was in second.
No, that's what I mean.
Yes, I was completely surprised because I know this hurts even more. Is I didn't have a routine with Muse at that point
Yeah.
because she was. I actually had kind of retired her in freestyle.
I played her in 2021 actually.
Right, and so
And then you were like, you last chance qualified her. You were just like,
I
I'm just
last
playing her for the
chance,
heck of
and
it.
I wasn't. I had no routine, and as a matter of fact, I hadn't done any vaulting or anything like that in 2 years. And then in the finals and in a qualifier, I didn't do any vaulting or anything like
You didn't
that.
even
No
qualify with her.
flip.
You didn't even pick her to qualify. You had a last chance her. I
No,
mean,
I'm saying
that's
at the
how.
last chance. That's what I'm saying. At the last
Yes.
chance, when I said
Oh,
qualifier,
okay.
that's what I meant.
Okay.
So I had, and she's older, and I had to do the last chance, so
No,
she's
she
getting
was
worn out.
11, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, and she had two canines missing, and it had just happened that year, and it's just all these things going against her. So she was like, quite honestly, just going
She
out
was
to
total
play and
dark
have fun.
horsing. You weren't expecting anything.
And what was crazy is I'm like, this is going to be it. We may as well just go out and just do whatever we can. She hadn't seen a vault from me in like 2 years, and I went ahead and I just pulled all of our tricks out and everything. I didn't have a routine, but I would just try to remember a sequence. I do part of the sequence and things like that, and it just worked.
Well,
Like
you know what?
magic.
There is something to be. I mean, you know, something about playing and having multiple dogs that have kind of gone through most of their career. I do think the dogs that are older and maybe a little slower do have that advantage that they've been doing it their whole life. And you guys are just on and they kind of know. They're like, okay, I know what this deal is. Where a young dog might just be a little, they're excited, they're
Right.
driven and stuff, but they don't have the whole picture
Yeah.
together. Like a dog like Muse, man, she knows what's going on.
And
She knew what was going on.
I had a really good feedback from one of the Skyhounds judges that year after the event was over, and he told me that what he really loves about watching me play freestyle is that every dog I have plays differently, and I play completely different with them. And he said, just a perfect example that year, Zen is the fast, crazy, kind of crazy bonkers dog. And he said, I played twice as fast with her because she played twice as fast. Muse being older and all that, I slowed down. He said it actually helped my scores a lot because he said, you guys, whatever dog I'm playing with, I play exactly like them. If they're fast and all that kind of stuff, I move quicker. I do everything quicker. And if it's like what Muse was that year, a step slower and things like that, I also back off and play to the dog's speed. And he said it looks good because it's like we're truly a team.
All right, so I got to ask, it's worth noting that up to that point, Muse had won many world championships, but never an overall championship where it's a singles, freestyle, and toss and fetch together. She had never won a championship like that. So, going into that, did that affect you at all that she had never won that particular type of championship before? And did it help you that she had won a bunch of other stuff?
It certainly helps that she had won a bunch of things. It helped that Zen had won AWI overall the year before. And
in what way? Was it less pressure in a way?
It felt less pressure. At that point, like I had said before, like in 2021, in that AWI finals, that's whenever my mental game kind of got to its final place. And I was already riding that, and I'm still doing it now, where I guess I go into those final rounds and I feel, I mean, there's pressure, but I don't know. I just eat it up and it doesn't bother me. And if anything, it just pushes me a little bit, but I don't feel nerves at all. And we were talking a little bit about this earlier. It's a little odd for me actually right now. I almost feel nothing doing it, but it's not quite that. It's not like I'm just out there like a blob and I don't have any emotion about it. But I've done it so many times, it's gotten to the point where it's just like second nature for me. And they aren't like other rounds.
Yeah, it's like a muscle you've built.
Yeah,
really.
it is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's like any other round. It's not like doing a little local competition here and doing a freestyle or something like that. It's not like that.
No.
I ramp everything up. And usually I'm like, I don't know, my headspace is a little confused leading up to my round. And I'm not like, I don't know how to focus right because I just want to go out there and play. I don't know what to think about it. And it's probably good that I do it this way. I don't think about a whole lot except throw good, throw good. That's all I think to myself. And
Yeah.
then I get into that final round, and then usually right before that, as I'm starting to walk onto the field, I'm like, we're winning this. And it doesn't matter if I'm in, as long as I'm close to striking distance, first, second, third place, my mentality is we're winning. That's it. That's all I'm thinking. Win, 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 win at all costs. Like your life depends on it. And I don't know, that somehow makes it easier for me. And
So that's so
it
interesting.
makes me feel so comfortable out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could say about the overconfidence of Ilya, what he had. I very every once in a while, you're usually not there because a lot of times you're in the event, so you were right before me, right after me. You're getting
Yeah.
ready, or you just finished. I've said this to Jen numerous times. As soon as I say Jeff, take the field, I look back at her and I said, I'm winning a world championship with her right now, or whoever the dog is. You know, we're winning this right now. And then I go onto the field, and then we do it. I've never said that and not win. But
It
sometimes I feel so confident that it's like nothing can stop us right now.
that is really interesting because that's so different from me. I'm I get like nervous, and any time that I ever have that like confident feeling, which like 2021 and 2022, I had that with Sora, and we did not it did not bode well. Um, Not that second place is bad, but when you go from first place to and drop to second, that's not what you wanted to happen, right? It's not like we moved up. So, no, I think I have like a totally different thing. I try to not think about the competition aspect of it all so much. I don't think about the winning piece. I don't think about the final ranking type thing. It's more of a like there I do have that thought of like, you know, do or die, or we have to do this right now, that same like urgency feeling, but I don't think about it in the way that okay, we're going to come out of this with a trophy or a win, you know what I mean? So I try to take myself out of that because I think that causes me to crumble a little bit, remembering that there's like something on the line. I don't know, I think for
You
me,
know,
I really think about like just do the thing and do it the best you can. And it's better if I go out there with an empty mind.
I think you hear it a little bit from me in pairs, and where I'll say to you, I know I say these kinds of things. Let's crush everyone. Let's do this. Let's just, you know, best routine we've ever done.
And how
And
do
I'll
I
say,
respond to that?
you're like, you tell me to shut up.
I can't think about that, dude.
You tell me to shut up or something, but I can't help it. That's how I'm thinking.
Yes,
And
yes.
then you probably don't really want me to bottle everything up either, and just be like
No,
this.
I want
not,
you to do whatever's
I'm
going to make it good.
whatever. So you'll
But
hear
just
those
know that I don't. You already know I don't come back with the same
right
thing because I can't. Because when I get like that, it's almost like my focus gets removed from the task at hand and becomes focused on something else. And then the other thing you mentioned, like your thought when you go out there too, is just throw good, throw good, throw good. So I don't even think about throwing well. I think more the timing and just the presence and making sure that I'm paying attention into the moment and not going on autopilot. Because if I
gotcha
go on
yeah
autopilot, I might not make the throw at the right timing. I just assume the throws are going to be good because I already did that 100 times.
well
Not 100 times, 1,000 times.
I guess
you
for
know,
me I
over and
figure
over and over.
the only reason we won't win if I'm out there with my team, me and my doggy, the only reason we won't win is if I don't throw good. That's the
Okay.
only thing
Yeah, that's fair.
that will ever keep me from winning. If I'm in first, second, third place, as far as I'm concerned, is if I don't throw well. And so I try to put it all on me
That's
because
interesting.
I always just, like, my dogs are incredible. Like, everyone should think their dog is number one. And I think that when I'm out there with my dog, I don't care which dog it is. I've told you this many times. I'm out there playing with Punky. I'm like, he's my best dog, period. He's the greatest dog in the world when I'm playing with him. And I have that mentality where, well, they're going to be perfect. I already know.
I have that mentality too. So I'm thinking the same thing. I think where I'm different is that I don't think that I'm going to mess up the throw so much. I think I'm going to mess up the timing.
Well, that's
and then the throw is not.
Yeah, I'm not as. I think I'm always. I don't think I ever mess up the timing. To be honest with you, maybe that's why. I'm not saying I don't, but I don't. That's not like a thing that happens too often with me. I also don't mess up the throw very often. I just know that kind of stuff is all that's going to get in the way between us and in a world championship. Because, like I said, the dog's going to be perfect. Now, do you ever have this thought that you're going to go out there and you don't ever think I'm just so much better than everyone else, I'm going to be able to beat them?
No, I actually,
That doesn't give you, that should give you
no,
confidence to
that,
think that.
no, I don't play well when I'm confident like that. I don't know what that is, but I'm just like, now I will think I got the best freaking dog in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always
that,
think that
but
every single time. So then it's just you. That's the only piece that's left
yeah,
now.
because you know what it is? If I go out there thinking I'm the best in the world, then I have to come to meet that standard instead of thinking, okay, well, you're not doing so good. You better fight for your freaking life. And it's kind of like a low standard, low expectation, and then you just come bust through that
Okay.
and absolutely exceed that. Now, of course, if we do terrible, then I'm, upset with myself, right? Like I think like anybody else.
So after 100 world championships, you're still going out there thinking, I'm the underdog. I got to fight for this. I mean, you always got to fight for it, but I'm saying like you want to go in as the underdog, even though you win like 800.
That is the mentality that helps me succeed more so than the overconfidence.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I don't want to say overconfidence isn't good.
Or confidence, I should say.
Okay, I do have confidence when I go into my final rounds. I mean, virtually every time. I expect to win.
So,
and it's not a cockiness thing. That's how my mindset has to be. So hopefully everyone understands that you have to do what's going to help you win. I don't consciously think about like I should do this or I should do that. I don't have that. Like here's what I need to do in my mindset. It's just what happens, and I have to go in there and think nobody can throw as good as me. My dog is better than all the other dogs, and guess what that means? We're gonna win.
Okay, so you know what?
It just feels good.
So this is interesting. So I wonder if it has something to do with how I'm like a little superstitious, right?
Superstitious,
yes. Stupidstitious.
And I'm not.
You're not at all. And so I'm like, the shoes have to be tied right. I have to be wearing the same, the shoes that I always wear. The same hat has to be worn. The whole thing. Like it's like. And I know that there's no logical reasoning behind it, but it's almost like it takes my focus away from the worrying part, and then I can just do that instead. I don't know. It's like a displacement behavior or something.
Interesting. Yeah. So, and I have none of that superstitious stuff.
So to me, it's almost like jinxing it because I have seen people go out there that were. I feel like if you're confident and then you go out there and you screw it up, it's a bigger letdown than if you went out there without the confidence and then like you still screwed it up. Like the amount of letdown between those two different things, there's less if you go out there with less confidence. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of funny.
So do you have any suggestions for maybe somebody who hasn't been in that position yet, maybe somebody who is trying to make the cut at the finals, and maybe they get out there, now they're in second place or they're in first place. They weren't really expecting it, hoping for it, but not really expecting it. Do you have any suggestions? Since we're talking about mental game, I think that's our main subject here. What they can do for their mental game? Any exercises, mental exercises, anything?
Are you talking about like, so if they are in the moment and they did not expect this, how can you, what can you do in that moment to make the best of it and try to win? Or are you talking long preparation for people?
You're in that moment.
So you're in that moment. You're in that moment.
You're in the moment.
The moment. Yeah, you're in the moment. You didn't know you were going to be there. It's a shock to you.
Yep.
Kind of like what happened with me and Torch. I don't think you had as much of shock factor when you got to that point because you had already won things. Right. And even in pairs, it was kind of like we knew you, me, and Muse were going to be a pretty competitive team in that. So for me, coming from somebody that did have the shock of a lifetime, let me tell you. That's why I never shut up about that championship when people are like, Kirby, shut up about that stupid championship torch won that first time. But so what I would say is try to take yourself to a place where you're not thinking about the competition that day, because if you haven't prepared for it, you're not going to be able to get past it. You're not suddenly going to just overcome all of the nerves and the stress and all of that of knowing that you're like in the world finals within striking distance of winning the world championship today. Today, you are not going to fix the problem. You can fix that problem over, next season. You can practice the mental scenarios, but if you didn't do the work, there's nothing you can do about that. So here's my recommendation for those people that find themselves in that situation that didn't already do that mental preparation and mental work to help them prepare well. Take yourself out of it and think of this event as a local competition or a big demo or something that doesn't fill you with the nerves. You have to take yourself out of the reality at that point, because you're not going to be able to overcome it unless you do, I think, in my opinion. And maybe that's where I'm stuck at. I try to take myself out of the event because that's what worked for me. That worked for me the first time, and then it worked the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time. And then I think that's how maybe I learned to do it. And I'm like, well, that led to success, so I'm going to keep doing that. So that maybe is how my strategy has ended up being that way. I now mentally prepare better. I go through the scenarios. That's a whole other episode we want to do, is talking about the different scenarios that we go through in our heads, making ourselves crazy and preparing for all these championships. But yeah, it's if you haven't done that work, it's really hard to fix that in the moment. It's kind of like if you go out to the world championships and your dog doesn't know how to vault, and you see somebody else do it and you think your dog needs to vault, you're not going to train it that day and do it because it's probably not going to work out. The best thing is to just not do the vault and then do your routine and just hope for the best. That's kind of my thought. What about you?
I think the number one thing that I would like to tell you is enjoy that moment. Again, that lightning in a bottle thing may never happen again. Just enjoy it, because I know for me, when I hear in first place, Jeff and Bon, and then we're taking the field and everyone cheers and stuff like that. Oh man, just like right now, I can feel like the chills going down my spine and everything, and just like that is when the adrenaline hits me, and I just get a rush. It's like it just feels so good. Enjoy it. Don't make it a bad experience for yourself. Just like take it in and be like, yes, me and my dog, we're number one right now. We're going to try to stay there, but like really enjoy that. Listen to them calling your name. Take a look over at the judges when you walk onto the field. Look around a little bit at the all the easy ups, all the people watching you and everything, the TV cameras sometimes, all that kind of stuff. Because it's better to do that before you start than to do a throw and you see a camera in your face. It's actually good advice. I always tell people that to take it all in, both to make yourself, hopefully make you more comfortable, and so you can enjoy it and you have those memories. Like I could just remember my dog's name being called, and it's like, oh God, I love those moments. And it's going to put you in a better place, hopefully, and let you be prepared so that you see the judges and I've had people after world championships, they were in the top 10, and they didn't even know who the judges were. They would start talking about who is judging. They don't even know. Well, you're not taking it all in if you're not paying attention to who your judges are. Now, you don't need to be. Maybe you just
you don't know them yet. Yeah.
See the person and recognize. Okay,
who it is.
I see that. Okay, I've seen them before, or whatever, or whatever, and just try to take it all in. And don't walk out onto the field and be like a deer in headlights and not even, and just it'll put you in a place where you don't know what to do. Take it in, see everything. Visualize, watch what's going on out there.
It's so interesting how our mental things are like totally opposite world. Because even we've talked about before, like when I do throwing practice and stuff, I like to just hide away. Nobody talk to me. I'm listening to my music. I'm in my own thing. And you're taking the whole situation and you're like,
I want all the noise.
It's so interesting how
everything.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's not one right way. It kind of just depends on who you are and what is going to work for you.
And also the thing is, I could see you every single thing you said in this podcast. I totally agree with everything you said.
Yeah, it makes well, and I agree with what
And
you
you
said.
know,
Yeah, no, it's interesting how such different ways can both work.
and the other crazy thing is we could go out there and when we play, when during our round, we will more or less look the same out there because we're so focused,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll look like we had the same thought process maybe, but maybe we didn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you don't even know what's going on in somebody's head.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times, like especially in toss and fetch, um, I will really cheer myself on and things like that. I'll say things, yell things out during the round. That's how you do it, you know, in the middle of my round.
Yeah.
You know, and it might seem like where's
You're
his
like, wow,
focus? Where's
wow,
his
this
focus?
guy. Yeah.
But I am focused. I'm focused. I'm
Yeah,
cheering my
that's the
dog on,
focus.
but it's not
Yeah.
just saying, yeah, yeah, you did a great job. I'll be like, that's how you do it,
Yeah.
you know. And my second throw, I'll say that, and then I'll throw, and I'm like, there it is. It's in the zone. I'll say those
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things. I'm not thinking about it ahead of time. I can't help it. It's just what's coming out of me,
Yeah.
and I actually realize sometimes I could look a little cocky. I don't do it all the time. I'm not a yeller, screamer kind of person out there, but it will come out. Especially if I just have this crazy level of confidence where I'm like, no one can beat us right now,
Yeah.
then I will start saying things. In freestyle, no, I am completely silent except for me talking to the dog, giving commands because it's too quick. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know.
Yeah. I
Um,
will say, so you know what's interesting is so Sora and I did eventually get redemption on our, second place thing. And in 2024, we also came in second place. It's just worth saying because we got it again. But that time we were not in first place. We crawled up from like sixth or seventh place and ended up in
yeah.
second. But so 2025, I think was different. And I was pretty nervous going into the toss and fetch just because I wasn't throwing as well as I wanted to be. And Sora kind of had to save me to make sure that toss and fetch went together okay. But once that happened, like the scores came out going in the final round, we were in first. And it wasn't like a huge margin. We definitely hadn't like already won it. Like we couldn't just walk out there. We still had to do well. But it was just interesting because I remember kind of like jittering around, sort of doing my pacing and all of that kind of stuff. And I talked to Steve Chassis, and he's like, just relax, like just relax and just focus on the game. Don't worry about the rest of it. And it took like a few minutes after that for me to finally calm down, but I think that was maybe the most confident I walked out onto a second round field. And Sora went dropless. So granted, there wasn't too much wind and stuff and conditions to think about. But yeah, I think it's interesting. So I don't know. Maybe I'm turning the corner. Maybe I'll end up with more confidence. But it's been really hard with Sora because I do have that mentality of like I do better as thinking I'm the underdog. And when you've got Sora, she's really freaking good.
Yep.
Yeah, Sora is no underdog in any way, shape, or form. I mean, she kind of came out from the get go as really awesome and still awesome. And like everything she does is awesome. So it's hard to think about being an underdog with Sora. So I'm going to have to learn your way, I think.
I've
with her.
I felt a lack of confidence in some ways with Bon Bon because she's so tiny, and it is difficult for her to be able to compete with the big dogs. But at this point, she's proven to me that she can play with the big dogs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, her toss and fetch is just ridiculous for a dog that size to be able to do it.
I don't think there's ever been
it.
another dog that's that little. I mean, the only one that maybe is close that I can think of is like Augie. He was really small. He's a Parsons Russell Tim Guides Augie. Mm-hmm. So and I don't think he was quite as fast as Bon Bon, but he was able to make long catches like that and really, really good at that little tiny size. He was pretty small too.
Right. Yeah, and well, I'm going to give myself just a little bit of credit because of the way I train my dogs is that I don't treat her any different than any of the other dogs. And I remember when I first started playing with her, and I'm throwing just like I would for any of the other dogs, and they're bopping off her head and there's making all these mistakes, and people start giving me advice. Thanks. But keep it out in front of her. Well, I'm so glad I didn't listen to their advice because what she did is she learned how to just catch my throws. I do not change how I throw for any of my dogs. And my theory is that, well, they just got to figure it out. and it and they're going to be consistent. They're going to see these same throws all the time. And then that allows me to be able to play with all the dogs the same. And I never treated her differently how I threw. In my mind, I'm thinking she's never going to be able to do this probably, but even Punky, I could throw it low out in front of him right now, and he'd be able to catch a lot of them.
He'd catch it, and then
you'd
get 3 throws because he'd do a 15-yard victory lap. But yeah,
I throw them high. So my theory when I throw in toss and fishes, I throw high. Probably higher than just about anyone. I'm probably about the highest thrower. Somebody throws pretty good, and it's because you're guaranteed to give your dog a chance if it's a high throw. You throw it low, there's a chance you're throwing it into the ground, and I have no chance for it. So my theory is to throw it high. And for a small dog, that's so much tougher for them with their little mouth and everything, and
and their little legs,
and
their little ears that they flap in the wind.
I mean, Bon the past couple of years really has been showing that she's really one of the best toss and fetch dogs ever.
Yeah, Bon's really good.
So,
dude, imagine if she was 40 pounds.
Oh my God, it'd be crazy.
She'd be like really unstoppable. Like you wouldn't be able to stop her at all. Because you play with the little discs too. Yes, that's the other thing, which are hard to throw.
Yeah. So I hope everyone. My final thing is that when you get to that final moment at World Championships, just try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if it'll ever happen again.
Maybe we'll be talking in 4 years again about how this kid wins an Olympic gold.
Yeah. I hope
maybe he's going to have his comeback.
I hope so.
Yeah, man. It's a tough thing, man, when your mental just doesn't want to follow your training and your physical.
Yep.
But
so we feel for you, Ilya. You're amazing.
The other thing is keep trying. Don't let one loss ruin your whole career. Yes. As much as you want to get it in the moment, there's only going to be one winner. There always is.
Yep.
And somebody's going to have to come in second. Somebody's going to have to come in third, and so on and so forth. But yeah, don't let one moment break you, because as we both talked about this episode, I mean, we
wouldn't be here right now.
We wouldn't be here if we let those moments kind of break us. Yep. So yeah, just power through it. Don't let it stay in your head forever.
That's right.
Just figure out how to improve and get better. And we hope this episode kind of shine a light on how we've done that and how that's worked in our Frisbee dog world.
Yep.
So thanks for watching. This has been
the Disc Dog Pod.
Bye.